Okay, so let's go over the lead protocol. We've talked about that a lot. The lead protocol is the suggested steps or touch points that we think that you should have with the lead because this is what works. We've seen it in accounts across the country, actually internationally now, and this is the bare minimum really that needs to be done to give you a really good chance at converting that lead into a sale. So the first thing that is the most important is as soon as you get that lead, as soon as you get a notification or an email or a text that you have a new lead and that an automatic text has gone out, you need to call the lead. And then you need to see if they respond to the text. The faster that you respond to that lead, the first time, the higher the conversion rate will be for your team. So the first step of the lead protocol is right away. As soon as you get that notification, call them and then check the app for a reply to the automatic text. Now, if they responded to the text, you don't need to call them because they're engaging through text, which a lot of people do. However, if the automatic text went out and they haven't responded to that, call them. Call them. Don't wait. Call them. Then the next day, if that lead still hasn't responded to an automatic text, the team is going to give them another call. The best time to call, and we've talked about it in a different video, would be when someone's not that busy with work. So lunchtime, end of day, 4:30 to 6. Try to pick a time of day where they're most likely not engaged in, rushing their kids to school, driving to work, or in the middle of a meeting. After that text, we're going to call them later that week. Not to get too specific, but this would happen 3 days after the lead came. But as long as you're calling just within that week period, a few days after that first phone call, that'll work. So a few days later, make sure that your team is reaching back out to the lead and call them. Also, check conversations in the app daily. When you click conversations, click all, and that way you're looking at all the messages and make sure that you are responding to texts as soon as they come in. Now, for this reason, I really, really recommend the phone app. So if you're only using the desktop version, which is what we typically train on, make sure that you are downloading the phone app or the iPad app for this so that you can respond as soon as possible. The desktop app is great for organization, and the phone app is great for responding as soon as possible. So later that month, give them another call. I've said it before, but keep calling the leads until they say, please don't contact me anymore, or they book an appointment. So that is the lead protocol, broken down, super simple. Let's see what that looks like in pipelines. So at least once per day, hopefully a few times a week, you're coming into the pipeline, no one is bothering you, and all that you're doing is calling back leads. So you go to opportunities. And remember, the 3 sections we're really working out of here in the beginning are dashboard, conversations, and opportunities. Opportunities is where the pipelines live. Mainly, you're going to work out of this one, the core pipeline. We can always add more later. There's a lot of fun things we can do. When you're in the core pipeline, you're going to see it's like a game board version of all your leads. Your leads are little tiles. This is the game board. And we see where we're at as we try to move to the winning spot of consult booked or services sold. So we've got 2 leads here that need calls back. Now, when you're coming in to organize the leads, it's best to work from the right and move towards the left because I'm moving the tiles this way. So if I'm trying to work left to right, I'm going to have tiles in like third call that I just called because I was working through second call. So definitely work right to left. So we're going to start with third call. Now, this is not when the lead is new and you're calling them right away. This is the process that happens every day where you're calling back the leads from earlier in the week. So this is the daily process that happens to call back prior leads, not new leads. Those get a phone call right away. So we're going to start right to left. So my lead that needs a call back here in third call, I'm going to give them a call. You can click the white part of the square and it brings up all their information. So here's their phone number. As you scroll down, it says we've got little tags. You will have a tag for what service they were interested in. If there are any notes from another team member, they will be here. So this is the view that I like to approach those calls from. So I get the phone number and I give the call to the lead. Now, depending on how that phone call went, maybe I book them and I'm moving them to consult scheduled. Maybe they didn't answer, so I'm going to move them into fourth calls so someone gives them a call tomorrow. Now, you can change those stages. These columns in the pipeline, they're called stages. Now, right here is a section where you can change the stage. You can also just drag and drop the tile. So for this one, we're going to change it here. So I got so lucky they answered, and I'm going to move them into consult scheduled, which is down here. That saves me the work of having to grab this little tile and like drag it all the way to the end of the pipeline. So consult scheduled. Woo. You could add a tag at this point, or just leave it as is. You can also add a note. Let's say I wanted to add a note. First, you would save this, then you would add a note. I'm going to update it though. Consult scheduled. Woohoo! So that little tile will now move from here over. If I wanted to drag and drop it, I could just click it and drag and drop it into this pile. So I finished all my third calls. Yes, let's move to second call. I'm going to call all the tiles in second call. Lucky me, there's only one. So I'm going to click it. I'm going to get that phone number and I'm going to call. And they didn't answer. So we're going to give them another call tomorrow. I'm going to drag and drop this tile instead of changing it here. So I'm going to close that and I'm going to drag and drop it. Some people like doing that better. It's a little more fun. Now, let's say that the consult schedule one came in later in the week and they loved it. They definitely bought the service. They got a package. They're coming back. So I want to mark that as a win, because if you don't mark these tiles as sold or won and put a value, all the great reporting in dashboard doesn't happen. So that really is the final step with every lead. That's the goal, that every lead ends its life in one of these little columns at the bottom, or piles in the bottom: won, lost, and abandoned. Now, one is green like money. That means they bought something. That's when we put them there. Lost is red, like a stop sign, like stop calling them. That is definitely a lead that is not interested. This is someone who tells you to stop calling them, tells you they booked somewhere else. Now, these leads are not going to get deleted. They're just going to get moved off the board. And we do need to clear this game board in order to keep it manageable and up to the moment. And so we don't waste your time. Now, this middle one is abandoned. Eventually, people need to come off the board. Like, we've done 8 phone calls. This is where we would move them to abandoned. We will retarget them later in the month. We will do a text blast. Don't worry about that. But keep your board clean, neat, tidy, and down to the people that you got to focus on this week. So let's click this one open. They bought something. I'm going to put down a price. I'm making something up. $2,200. Woo! Now we can either change the status here to 1, or you can drag and drop it if that feels like more exciting. Right here, though, I am going to change it to services sold, so I don't forget to do that last step. It's updated. I'm so excited. Now I'm going to drag and drop it into the win, and I'm going to give myself a little clap. And if we go to dashboard, you're going to see that now there is activity happening here. And we're going to change this filter. So I changed the filter to include today. And now you see that we've got 1 lead in the 1 pile. Our conversion rate is 33%, 33.33 to be exact, because we had 3 leads. We abandoned 1. 1 is still open. We're working on it. And 1 is 1. And that's super exciting. So the way that I did that is here. I'm showing you status change. Usually we leave the filter on created on because we're looking at what's happening on the leads that came in during this time period. So that is how you manage the opportunities in pipeline. That's how you get the wins to show up on the dashboard. We've got a couple more videos that go into managing the pipeline and working to convert leads. So let us know if you have any other questions that need to be answered. Thanks.